Hello, 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 internet streets. Savannah Sage here, founder and CEO of Paradise Park, and I just have a question. I am really wanting to know this. I want to know the answer to this because I know what it is for me, and I'm gonna tell you why I even came to that conclusion. But I really want to know why people do or don't go on retreats. I really would like to know why people go on retreats. I've seen so many different types of retreats, you can have, of course, we know your wellness retreat, but there's even different flavors of that. With retreats, you have the type of retreat where you are, I don't know, it's so many different kinds. You could have a yoga retreat, a meditation retreat. You can have the plant medicine retreats. You can have fitness retreats, retreats where you go to handle business, finish your book or write your business plan or visualize and all of that. But I really want to know why people go on retreats or why you don't, if you haven't ever gone on a retreat. Because for me, about 8 years ago, I went on my first retreat. That was my first time going on a retreat. And I was going through a tough time. I was in corporate life, just high level corporate life, dealing with executives, C-suite folks. It was a lot of pressure. I loved it though. I did love my work, but I was also suffering a lot because of just different microaggressions, not handling my stress properly. And also, even though I had been some form of vegetarian for over 25 years, I was feeling a lot of fatigue. I just was feeling uncared for. I was just hustling too hard. I was hustling hard, but I was hustling way, way, way too hard for too long without really addressing myself. I really began to relearn the art, or I think really learn for the first time the art of self-care. And you'll know that I always spell it CELLF care, because I like to focus down to the cellular level. Because even they say 90% of stress, 90% of issues stem from stress. And I mean medical issues, right? So that means that you can feel a certain way, and then it can, feeling, right? You can think that it's intangible, but it can manifest as something physical. So that's why I say down to the cellular level, because if you're focusing on spiritual, mental, emotional things, they will impact you physically, and ultimately the strongest physical impact is to the cell. So anyway, I wasn't involved in, I didn't understand the art of self-care, the art of self-care. My whole thing was chasing the bag. And now I say, what is the point of chasing the bags, all the bags, if you're going to be in a box? So, I went to my first retreat. And again, I want to know why people go to retreats or why they don't go to retreats. But I went to my first retreat 7, 8, it might be 8 or 9 years ago now. And it was a big step for me. I'm I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know these people. I don't know if it's going to be clean. I don't know what they're going to be doing. But it was a pivotal experience. It transformed my entire life going to that retreat. It's one of the best things I could have ever done. The thing that I loved about going to that first retreat, first of all, was local. I actually went home at night because, I'm just that type. I'd rather be in my own bed. So I went to I would go to the retreat like early in the morning, to the location, and then I would leave late at night, like 11 or 12, and then come back. But the thing that I really loved about the retreat is that everybody was so freaking loving, kind, gentle. You know, you don't, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like people these days, I'm saying it's lovely people because I don't like to say things. I believe in my words bring what I will experience. So I am not saying that this is a across the board experience all the time, but I'm saying that a lot of times in life I have experienced where people don't want to compliment. People don't even want to say hey on the street. Like even the little nod, like the hey, what's up? You know, like that. They don't even like do that no more. I'm like, what is with that? Like people not speaking, and then it's like, I mean, you know, one time my cousin came to visit me in Atlanta, and we were at this restaurant, and she's from up north, right? And she was asking me, like, do you know the people in this restaurant? And I'm like, why would you say I know these people? She was like, because everybody just, like, saying hi, and they just seem so friendly, like they know you. I'm like, no, these people just, you know what I'm saying? These people just, it's Southern. You know, it's Atlanta. It's Southern. But that was, like, I don't know, like maybe 20 years ago. These days, it's just a little, I don't know. I ain't gonna say it's different because again, I believe that beautiful people are attracted to me everywhere that I go. And people address me with respect, love, kindness, and gentleness. So, but my point is that when I went to the retreat, I saw that. I was yearning for that. Just, I heard the term saving space or sacred space. And I really felt like it was like that. It was like, you know, everybody, we didn't know each other. We had just met. It was probably like 10 other people there. And everybody was just so beautiful. And I love that. Especially with me, like, I don't live around a lot of my family. And even those who do, your family might not be the warmest, most beautiful people. Like, I'm a warm, beautiful, like, I like a beautiful atmosphere and vibe. So that was one of the things that I really, really loved about the retreat. It was like, I don't know, it was like care on another level. It was just so lovely. It was just beautiful. And so, yeah, that was the first thing. And then the other thing is it just gave me a time out, you know. Sometimes we just have to break away. And if you're a busy executive, if you're busy in like high level corporate things, you might have 1 trillion hours of PTO. You might be your own CEO, but you still have responsibilities and you may not be able to jump up and go to Jamaica or Tulum or whatever. You may not be able to go and do all of that right now. So that's why I love the fact that it was local and I could take that break over the weekend. Even the first day, it was just amazing, right? Just to come out of my element and to do yoga in the sun, you know, just really yoga style stretching in the sun with a bunch of other beautiful sisters. Like, that was re-energizing. You know, we often neglect ourselves in the area of rest. And I don't mean just sleep. I mean the 7 types of rest. And I get into that like on my page, paradiseslife.com. You'll find a lot of the things that I talk about here. But yeah, you know, we can neglect our rest. Like, one of the 7 types of rest is creative rest or social rest. Sometimes just all of the stimulation of Like I would have back-to-back conference calls, big meetings, projects that I'm organizing, and you have to do a lot of communicating in that situation. You have to do a lot of high-level communicating too, and I mean that to say that, you know, you are dealing with an area of leadership when you're in a corporate world where you have to say things just a certain way. You have to, when you're in a corporate scenario, you have to kind of think about the best way to communicate and have difficult situations. So that's where the social rest came in. I really was dealing with a lot of having to communicate to large audiences, small audiences, high level audiences, colleagues, just a lot of communicating. So when I went to the retreat, that was a time to get social rest. So I was talking about the 7 types of rest. So when I went to the retreat, I was able to rest in that way. So when I'm talking about getting rest from being at retreats, it's 7 different types of rest. And that was something that was amazing to me. So the first thing I experienced was a very loving and gentle and kind environment. And that alone was energizing. Then I also experienced that rest, just kind of a break from the overstimulation of the hustle and bustle. And so, man, I felt amazing. I felt amazing going to that retreat. And then the other thing is I uncovered tools for self-improvement. I mean, really, again, it's just self-care is what I call it. I uncovered tools that would help me take care of myself better. For one thing, I learned about all kinds of vegan foods that I had never heard of, like fonio. I had never heard of fonio. And it's a very nutrient dense grain. I had never heard of putting chlorophyll in your water. I just learned a lot of tools to help me go home and take care of myself. Again, without packing a bunch of suitcases, without having to take PTO. I didn't have to hop on a plane. I did that right here in Atlanta. And that was the thing that I loved about it, because as a busy corporate executive type person, I did not have time to take a vacation. Not only that, but when I do have the time, even if I have trillions of hours of PTO, a lot of times I have things that I need to do, so I really can't. Like, my responsibilities dictate that I can't. But if I can go, I usually go once or twice a year. But those conference calls are happening every day, all day. Being mommy and wifey and just all the hustle and bustle is happening every day. So I was really happy to have the opportunity to go to a retreat that was here in Atlanta. So that was the other part of the experience. The loving environment, the self-improvement tools, and then the fact that it was convenient because it was local, And then it's like, it gives you time to think. Because when you're in that hustle and bustle, for me, I didn't have time to think about myself. What is my vision? Why am I even doing this? I remember like Candy Burris, if you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was talking about how she's not coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And people were, the reporters and stuff was asking her, why aren't you coming back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? And she said, well, despite what you might think, this is what she said. So she said, during the break, she had time. She had time to spend with her kids. She took her mom different places. She was able to sit there and think, like, what do I even really want to do? Like, maybe I could be maximizing my time doing something else that I really feel that I want to spend my life energy on. And so that's what happens at a retreat, is you get the time to think. You would think that you are all day, you are processing information, but it's that head, that logic, that practical information. But this kind of thinking is from here, and from here, the intuition, the destiny type, think about your dreams, think about what is important to you. You're only going to be on this earth for so long. And so what do you want to spend your time doing? And how can you do that? And so just getting somewhere and getting still, being in that beautiful environment, eating better foods, doing things like getting into yoga and stuff like that, that really gives you a chance for new ideas to surface, things that you forgot you even liked, that stuff surfaces. I really believe my passion for gardening came out of that, in a sense, from the standpoint of me saying, you know what, I really want to do something for me. And this is something I'm going to do. I feel like that was one of the other best decisions I made in my life, is gardening, growing my own food. Like just the other day, I went to the garden at Paradise Park, and I picked up a bunch of lettuce. I harvested a lot of lettuce, and I made a wonderful salad. I harvested some collard greens. I made collard greens and lentils. Lentils was something I was introduced to at that retreat too, and now I love them. Well, actually, I had eaten lentils before one time, but I only had the green ones. I never had the orange ones. And I learned how to make all kind of lentil stews. So again, uncovering tools that can help you in your self-care journey. So yeah, and then, like I was saying, the inspiration comes up when you're in that Zen environment. Everybody is calm. Everybody is in tune. Everybody is being beautiful and lovely acting. It's just, it's a vibe. It's a whole vibe. And then you can get that inspiration from within, gives you a chance to just break from the busyness of life and say, you know what do I really like? What do I want in this season? Somebody said before that, you only get to be this version of you one time. So I'm not even talking about living your life one time, but I'm talking about me as the person that I am today, this phase that I'm in. I want to enjoy her. Like, I'm a totally different person than I was 10 years ago. What does this person like? I had to redefine my life, and retreats allow you to do that. So again, why or why not? Why do you go to retreats? What do you get out of going to a retreat? Or why have you never gone to a retreat? Maybe you're like me, because I personally, when I used to hear about retreats, I'm like, honey, why do I want to travel to Tulum with a bunch of strangers? Why would I want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, I want to go with my man. I want to go with my family. I could see that. But, so I really, again, that was a big leap for me to go to a retreat. So it was good that was local, because I definitely wasn't about to get on a plane and go to it, especially like when you value your time. Like, if you're a busy person, you value all of your time, and you like, honey, I gotta know what I'm about to get out of this. And retreats sometimes can be somewhat intangible. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, if the person who held that retreat would have told me, you're gonna learn about foods you never ate before, or you are going to feel so reinvigorated because of the atmosphere, I might have been like, okay, but you can't guarantee that. Because we're analytical. Like, if you're in the corporate realm and stuff, you tend to be analytical like that. So I had to really let that go. And since then, I've started to go to different things. And again, it was new for me, just even investing that kind of money in myself. Like, okay, I'm about to put this money into going to a retreat with all of these people that I don't know. And I'm going to do that instead of buying some clothes, going to get 50 massages or whatever. You know, it's like, why would I do that? And so, but the value of it, I'm still talking about that retreat that happened 8 years ago, and it literally changed my life. Like, I think that when people do say that, hey, this retreat, if you come, it's going to be life changing. I don't know if people believe that. So tell me what you think. Another thing about the retreat. Well, first of all, it hit all of my senses. It hit all of my senses. We did things like sweat lodge sauna, like an outdoor sweat lodge sauna. So that was a different, right here in Atlanta now. You would have thought the way we walked through the woods and went to this sweat lodge that it was somewhere else, but it was right here in Atlanta. And it was just a real raw, amazing experience. So, you know, it stimulates the senses. We did Reiki. We did meditation. I don't know if we did meditation at that one. We had workshops. We, what else did we do? Again, it was 8 years ago, y'all, but it was really amazing. But that's the thing that since then I've gone to retreats, whether it's the music, just everybody being on one accord, and like I said, saving the space for each other. And what do I get out of the idea of saving space? It's like, this space is a no mess zone. It's a no tea zone. It's a no shade zone. It's a no mess zone. It's a zone that is dedicated to your peace and bliss. And that's really like what paradise, that is, see, that's another reason why it changed my life, because that is what I wanted to deliver at Paradise Park, you know. And I'm just now thinking, like, really, that actually came from that scenario. It was like an origin. It planted a seed for me. And one of the scriptural references I used at Paradise Park is, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And that's the feeling of a sacred space to me. That's what that means. Then the other thing, like this retreat that I went to, it wasn't so focused on nature. It was focused on vegan eating. It was focused on electric and alkaline foods. That was the main thing it was focused on. So I did learn. You know, that was a great learning opportunity along with the wellness. But, you know, what was I going to say? My retreats that I hold at Paradise Park are with the backdrop of nature. So that in and of itself, man, I'm telling you, I have learned so much. I mean, I knew it. I think we all know that nature is like everything. Even if we don't express it that way, I think we know that we should connect. Like, maybe it would be a good idea if we connected with nature. But no, I'm talking about I've fallen back in love with nature, which is the same exact thing as saying I've fallen back in love with myself. And I do mean the CELLF part, okay? So saying that I fell in love with nature is the same thing as saying I fell in love with me, because just sitting outside, deep breathing, allowing the water to really hear the water, not just hear it, but listen to the water. You know what I'm saying? Listen to the trees and the birds. Just reconnecting back to that raw self is so invigorating. So, you know, I feel like that's a good thing. It gives you a chance to reflect, you know, when you go to retreats. Like, you know, a lot of times during the day, we don't have time to address certain things. Like, you like, look, what we call that? Let's table this. We'll circle back to this. That's what we say in the corporate world. We'll circle back to it. So you might experience something, you know, in your work or in your business, and you like, you know what? I'm not going to address that right now. That's that stress, right? That's that intangible stress that if we don't come back to it, then it lodges in the body, right? So the thing about going to a retreat is a sacred space for you to have that time to reflect. Like why do I always get angry when this happens? Like, why do I feel out of control when that happens? This person in my life, should I really be around this person? Or how can I change things? Maybe the way that I'm communicating is causing this issue, or maybe I'm filtering what somebody is saying and I'm creating an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's not always that somebody's doing so much to you, but it can be the way you're processing information and the way that you are, the way you process it influence the way that you communicate it to cause conflict. So again, going on a retreat, man, it's invaluable. Like, that really, really can change your life, going on a retreat. And at Paradise Park, I'm offering day retreats. Just, hey, a 5-hour day. Come and get your life for 5 hours. Come and get this soothing sound therapy. Hey, Eb. Come and get some extended stretch. Come and get a foot soak. And also focus on self-care, like aromatherapy, herbal exploration, nature immersion, stuff like that, And again, there are so many different types of retreats. Like, I'm going to have focuses on fertility, or focuses on womb wellness, or focuses on detox, focus on diet, fitness, all kinds of different themes all throughout the spring and summer. So help me out. Tell me, why do you go on retreats, or why do you not go on retreats? What do you enjoy about retreats? I just really, I never really talk to a lot of people about why they go on retreats. So let me go back to my story about me actually going on my first retreat 8 years ago. I enjoyed that so freaking much. I loved that retreat so much that it almost became a purpose. It was like I almost discovered my destiny, as far as I just wanted to deliver that experience to other people. So like 6 months later, I held my own retreat for like 22 women from all around the country. They came here to Atlanta and I held a retreat. And let me tell you something. Which one do you think was more satisfying? Me going to my first retreat, or me holding my first retreat? Now, don't get me wrong, it was my first retreat, so I learned a lot. And I don't know, I felt a lot of pressure, especially when I was planning it. But when those women came, I was like surprised about how deeply it touched them. Like, these women, like when they walked in, like women had tears coming out of their eyes, y'all. Like when they walked in, I was just like, I didn't understand it fully. I understand it more now. But we did really set the environment. We had fresh flowers. It was decorated so beautiful. Like, it's just a love letter to your sisters, to humanity, for me. Again, the scriptural reference being, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health. Like, that is somebody who really wants something amazing for you. And that's what I was delivering at that retreat, the one that I held. And so I was just so surprised, like, by how touched I shouldn't have been surprised. I thought they were going to have a good time, but I didn't really understand that they were going to be transformed like I was going to be transformed. I know that inside me subconsciously, that's why I did it. I did want them to be transformed, but I did get caught up in the delivery of the retreat, the planning of the retreat, the organizing of the retreat, when I did my own, because it was my first one. So I think that I wasn't as in tune to the impact that it would make upon people. And people email me later, text me later, saying how they would never forget me. How I'm like, what? Because I planned for us to do yoga and you know what I'm saying? That was more of an adventure retreat. So it was a wellness and adventure retreat. So we did horseback riding and we did yoga 2-3 times a day. We had a vegan chef. I like to do it nice now. Paradise Park, it's nice. But it is, people have to be open to being in nature. You got to be open to maybe a little sweat, you know what I'm saying? Because sweating is good for you. Honestly, like that's going to be part of the experience to sweat. Like there's some toxins that cannot get out of your body other than sweating. And so really, like when I went on that retreat like 8 years ago, I never stopped learning from there. Like that was like the art of wellness 101, the art of self-care 101 when I went to that retreat. And so ever since then, I have been studying all kinds of naturopathic, all kinds of indigenous methods and stuff like that. Now, I don't get into the plant medicines. I don't get into, I keep it I keep it focused on wellness in a way that someone who is, I don't want to say new, but just they just want an experience that's not too deep, but it's transformational. It's not too woo-woo for them yet. That's the ones I specialize in. Like, we'll do nature immersion. We'll do, I'm looking forward to the silent retreat. Now, we should be doing 2 or 3 days of silence. We'll work up to that, but just some hours of silence. Not talking. Not hearing anybody talk. Like, you can clear your minds like crazy. Do you know the thoughts? Do you know the things that yourself has been wanting to tell you that it can't get across to you because you always talking or somebody's always talking to you? So, it's that kind of thing. So, the journaling by the river. Nature, just with you being in nature amongst these big tall trees and stuff. And I know it's not the same as being at a waterfall, maybe in Belize or something. But water is water. Trees are trees. Like the trees tree in Atlanta, just like they do in Costa Rica. Now, they are beautiful over there and the water is amazing over there. But if you need, a regular regimen of care, then, Atlanta, just being in your region even. Like some people came to my retreat, the one that I threw like 7 years ago. They came from Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, in the region. So that's what's up. Yeah. And also, what else came out of that retreat? I learned about how all of the chemicals and stuff that we're putting on our skin and on our face, because I always wanted glowing skin. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted glowing skin. I didn't understand. My mother, she was kind of like, at a period in my life, she was sick. And also her mother was a heavy alcoholic. So I didn't have that talk about beauty regimen stuff. She did. I'm going to tell you what my mama showed me. It's Noxzema. I don't know if y'all remember Noxzema, honey. My mom told me use some Noxzema. You was going to be all right if you use Noxzema. Shout out to Noxzema. If you heard of Noxzema, put that in the comments, okay? But I learned that natural. This is one of the products that I started making. This is a face scrub. So now everything that I put on my body and my hair and even my toothpaste, I make it. And so now I started selling that. I first started providing to my family members, like my sons and my husband actually get an attitude with me if I don't have something ready for them. The face scrub and the face mask, and I make like 30 different products, but right now I'm only focusing on my face kit mostly. But I make womb wellness products, I make powders and all kind of herbal blends. That all came from me going to that one retreat. All of that transformation in my life, me finding more purpose, me learning tools that can help me in self-care and growing in that and starting to use that. All of that came from me going to that one retreat. Like, please share with me your retreat experiences. If you have been to a retreat, or if you know somebody who's been to a retreat, share with me, what was the transformation you experienced? Did you get reinvigorated, rejuvenated? What all did you do? But yeah, that's a trip, because just talking about that just reminds me of how pivotal that was in my life. Man, that inspires me even further. Like, when I host my retreats this spring and this summer, like, I'm really focusing and expecting people to get this pivotal, groundbreaking transformation. People who, you might be stressed, having a lot of anxiety, having certain symptoms. You want to really deal with things in a natural way. You want to learn more about natural wellness. You love nature, or you feel like you would enjoy having more nature in your life. And it's all like a bespoke experience. Like, we're doing pre-assessments and post-assessments and stuff like that. So I'm excited about this summer. I'm excited to hear from people who have done this, who have had retreats or been to retreats before, stuff like that. So, hey, look, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. I will talk to you later. Call me back. Have a good evening.